Welcome to Module 3, Solution Architect Series, Explore Power Apps Architecture. This module is part of the Solution Architect Design Microsoft Power Platform Solutions. Let's get started. Solution Architect Series, Explore Power Apps Architecture. Introduction. Solution architects are responsible for a solution's overall design. Understanding the capabilities of Microsoft Power Apps is imperative when designing the apps for a solution. This module explains the different types of apps, the differences between apps, and when and which types of apps to use. Additionally, you will learn how to divide apps and discern how many apps that you need. This module provides technical details around Power Apps, but doesn't discuss best practices because they consistently change in Microsoft Power Platform. A solution architect should always check the latest information for Power Apps. The main objective of this module is to ensure that solution architects learn how to decide which app type to use. The type of apps in Power Apps. There are three types of apps in Power Apps, and they are Canvas. These apps consist of screens, forms and controls. You have full control over all visual elements of your app through the Properties pane, where you can set values and properties, control navigation and save data by using functions and expressions that are similar to Microsoft Excel. Model-driven. Apps that are built on the data model that you create in Microsoft Dataverse. Model-driven apps are constructed from separate components such as forms, views, charts and dashboards. Each component type has its own editor, and to build an app, you will assemble the separate components. Portal apps. These apps are customer-facing websites that are built on top of Dataverse. With a portal app, you can expose your data to external stakeholders and allow them to view and update data in a more secure way. You'll now hear portal apps referred to as Power Pages apps. Next unit, Common App Patterns. Common app patterns. Apps have common patterns that can be beneficial to you in your project. Microsoft apps versus partner apps versus custom apps. A solution architect should consider using a partner app from Microsoft AppSource. The rest of this module will focus on the creation of custom apps. The first decision that a solution architect needs to make is which type of app to start with. Microsoft Dynamics 365 apps, a partner app from AppSource, custom apps. Dynamics 365 has many types of apps that you can use individually or together. You need an understanding of these apps and their capabilities so that you can decide whether to use the out-of-the-box functionality of the apps, customize the apps, or even build your own custom apps. Consider Microsoft Dynamics 365 apps as model-driven apps in Power Apps that are built on top of Microsoft Dataverse. A solution architect should start with evaluating whether Dynamics 365 apps can meet the requirement or not. If not, then they need to consider AppSource next, and then finally consider custom apps. App types. A model-driven app has the following features. Dataverse data-driven. Data relationships navigation. Consistent UI. Security trimming of UI. Responsive UI. Consistent accessibility. User personalization, end-user tooling, Excel, import, export, and so on. Back and mid-office and process-focused. A Canvas app has the following features. Not Dataverse data-driven, visual presentation of info, custom UI, non-responsive UI, device integration, basic offline support, SharePoint or Microsoft Teams embedding, task-focused apps. A portal app has the following features. Dataverse data-driven, web application, uses model-driven forms and views as framework to show Dataverse data, can be customized for standard web technologies, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, Liquid, and so on. External user-focused. Common pattern. When deciding on which app type to use, you should be aware that the solution will typically have multiple apps of different types. The common patterns are model-driven, administration of data and processes, Canvas, end-user focused, portal, externally facing portal for non-users. Canvas apps can be used to solve edge cases that would often be ignored. Apps in Teams. You can add Canvas apps and model-driven apps to Microsoft Teams and then access them from a tab in a channel. This module will explain later how to create apps in Microsoft Teams. Embed apps. An embedded Canvas app can be embedded in a model-driven app form. This feature enables many different scenarios that can be difficult to achieve without code, such as including visuals, accessing data that is not in Dataverse by using connectors, using complex logic and operations on Dataverse data. Limitations of using embedded Canvas apps are: they're only available during edit. They are not available during creation of new rows. The save of form does not save the component data at the same time. Roadmap. Currently, Canvas and model-driven apps have separate designers, and the integration between Canvas and model-driven apps is not seamless. Not all features of each app type are available to the other, as shown in the following diagram. Microsoft plans to merge and eliminate the differences between Canvas and model-driven apps. Ultimately, everything will be merged into Power Apps, with screens made up of Canvas and model-driven components, as shown in the following diagram. Next unit, App Composition. App Composition. App composition is one of the most important decisions that a solution architect must make. App composition is the process of determining the number and type of apps. Deciding on how many apps and what features to include in an app are important considerations in the process. Decide on the number and type of apps. Solution architects should consider the following principles when choosing which apps to build. Large monolithic apps should be avoided. Too many small apps can be overwhelming for users if they have to frequently context switch. Components can be used by multiple apps, allowing composition of apps that target users with specific needs. Offer groups of users targeted mobile apps to save time when they're away from their desks. Important. A solution architect needs to consider which user communities will use which app, when they will use the app, and on which devices. It might be beneficial to map the apps in such a way that helps you decide the number and type of app. Extend existing apps versus create new apps. Dynamics 365 apps come with apps like Sales Hub and Customer Service Hub. You can choose to use and extend these apps, or you can create your own apps. Using and modifying an existing app might expose new features when updates are released, include features that you do not need, include components that you can't reuse or replicate in custom apps. Composing a new app will provide complete control over what is included, require you to manually add new features to app navigation, enable you to use custom forms and views that you can control the structure of. Determine which type of app to make. Model-driven apps are built on top of the data model in the Dataverse environment. Views and detail screens for model-driven apps are based on the data structure. Accordingly, they offer users a more consistent appearance and behavior from one screen to the next without requiring much effort from the app creator. Model-driven apps are useful in scenarios where the business logic is complex, such as sophisticated data models, business process management, tracking activities that are associated with data. Canvas apps can be built with or without a Dataverse database. They use connectors to access data and services. Canvas apps start with a blank screen, like an artist's canvas, and then the creator can manually lay out each screen. This feature gives the creator complete control over the placement of each element on the canvas. You should choose Canvas apps if the user expects a customized user experience and because they offer a graphical, intuitive interface, the ability to create a tailor-made UI based on user requirements, integration that spans multiple systems by using connectors. Note: consider creating a model-driven app unless your users have specific need for a Canvas app. Model-driven apps enable you to make your app quickly because they don't require you to build the UI yourself. Your business processes might require more than one app. In the following example, a solution is required for creating and viewing expense reports. Many tasks have been identified that need to be completed by different user roles. Lee, in sales, will fill in the expense form, find and attach receipts, and submit an expense report. Task: create an expense report where, online or offline mobile. Nick, the sales manager, requests fixes. The task is view and approve expense report, online, desktop or mobile. Abhay is an accountant, requests fixes. Task, view and approve expense reports, either online, desktop or mobile. Also, review and post transactions. Task is to post transactions to another system through online or desktop. Charlotte, the CFO, reviews weekly expense reports, either online or desktop. And Rebecca, the auditor, checks if reports meets compliance. And the task is read-only view of expense reports, either online or desktop. The expense report solution has several tasks set that are different, so you should consider making several apps. The data that people use is the same, but the user experience will be tailored to the specific scenario and personas. Canvas apps would be the best fit for the employees who are filling in the expense form, which enables people like Lee to submit an expense report by using an attractive mobile app that is intuitive to use and can be used when offline. Notice in the preceding image that Abhay has the following requirements. Must be able to review all expense reports and receipts. Is responsible for ensuring compliance for every expense report. Large volumes of work, needs to be able to process information quickly. Must be able to report on how expenses are balancing up to the budget. To be able to process a large volume of work and process information quickly, the best fit for Abhay would be a model-driven app. It allows Abhay to quickly view all details of the submitted expense report, assess how it affects the budget, and look for related information such as vendor details. This example scenario shows a combination of Canvas app and model-driven apps. Though they are two different types of apps, all data can be centralized in one place, Dataverse. Next unit, components. Components. A solution architect needs to consider creating components as part of the app architecture. Components are important because they promote reuse, enabling multiple makers to collaborate on multiple parts of a Canvas app at the build stage. Characteristics of components are that they allow reuse within and across apps, can allow multiple makers to work on building a single app, help promote consistency and reduce redundancy. A solution architect should look for controls that would benefit from being made into a component, headers, common widgets, and so on. Two types of components in Power Apps are Canvas components, targeted for Canvas app makers and work only in Canvas apps. Power Apps component framework code components, targeted for professional developers. Power Apps component framework, also known as PCF controls. Component libraries. Canvas components are reusable building blocks for Canvas apps so that app makers can create custom controls to use inside an app or across apps by using a component library. Characteristics of Canvas app components are that they are ideal for reuse in Canvas apps, can be used across multiple apps, allow use of common maker skills, helping to simplify the process for multiple makers, are limited to capabilities of Canvas app formulas and connectors. Component libraries are containers of component definitions that help make it easier for you to discover and search components, publish updates, notify app makers of available component updates. Important: Canvas components should be added to a component library. Component libraries are a recommended way to reuse components across apps. When you use component library, an app maintains dependencies on the components that it uses. The app maker will be alerted when the updates to the dependent components have become available. Hence, all reusable components should be created within the component libraries. The solution architect should have a strategy for managing components. Code components with Power Apps Component Framework. Power Apps Component Framework empowers professional developers and app makers to create code components for model-driven and Canvas apps. Public preview. To provide an enhanced user experience for the users to work with data on forms, views, and dashboards. Characteristics of code components are that they can be used in model-driven and Canvas apps in web and mobile, can be used in multiple apps to replace columns and grids, can be used by new record and edit experiences, can typically use multiple components on a form without performance problems, require code developers with TypeScript and HTML skills, allow the use of professional developer skills, meaning that all types of developers can contribute to the solution. Code components can be packaged into solutions. When the solution is updated, each app that consumes the component automatically recognizes the updated component. A solution architect should purposefully use code components to create a good user experience. A large community develops these code components. You can reuse these components from the gallery and sample component gallery. The following screenshot is for a community control that displays a grid of counts based on calculated risk scores. Next unit, optimize Canvas apps. Optimize Canvas apps. Two main ways of development are imperative and declarative. Imperative development focuses on how to achieve the goal, while declarative development focuses on getting the result. Imperative provides more flexibility because you can control every step in the process, but it requires more code and complexity. Declarative is simpler and more straightforward to use, but you might lack the ability to have the complete control that you want. Canvas apps takes your declarative what and optimizes the how. You might not be able to precisely express what, so Power Apps will help you by allowing you to use imperative development. A mistake that makers often make is to use imperative development when declarative development will be simpler to use and will perform better. Canvas apps can be made to look attractive, and, while having an attractive app is important, apps that perform well will get better user adoption. For more information on imperative and declarative development, see Use imperative development techniques for Canvas apps in Power Apps. The following sections discuss techniques for optimizing Canvas app performance. Offload work from apps. As formulas in apps get larger and more complex, consider if work should be done somewhere else. Work can be offloaded to Microsoft Power Automate Cloud Flows, business rules, plugins, and other server-side logic in Dataverse. Note: a common method is to offload logic into Power Automate Cloud Flow that uses the Power Apps trigger. The flow can be called from a Power Apps expression that passes data to the flow and receives a result back from the flow. You can also create custom connectors to Microsoft Azure functions or other custom logic. If you find that you are using imperative developments inside an app, consider offloading this logic to a more appropriate feature. Performance. Common issues with app performance are data access. Initially, the app gets large sets of data into data collections and then uses data within multiple screens over client-heavy operations like join, sort, add column, and group by. Formulas in onStart. The app triggers many unnecessary data calls in screens, and these data calls return large data records. Repeatedly retrieving data from the source. Use the set function to cache data from lookup tables locally. With onStart, you should encourage makers to use the clear-collect function to cache data locally and the concurrent function to reduce the time to load the cache data. The first image shows the loading of 4 datasets without concurrent function, and the second image shows the process with the concurrent function. With so many options, performance needs to be considered often. Analysis and improving optimizations are ongoing efforts. You should validate best practice by referring to slow performance sources, common performance issues, and performance tips. The solution architect should implement a Canvas app performance tuning strategy. Avoid, defer, parallelize, monitor. A tuning strategy should avoid any work that you can, defer work that is less likely to be needed, parallelize work where possible, monitor the app in operation. Work might not always be obvious. You should use a progress indicator for the user on long-running work. Test Studio, Azure Monitor, and Application Insights. Canvas apps should be properly tested. Microsoft provides Test Studio for regression testing of Canvas apps that can be included in automated build processes. Test Studio includes the following features. Suites. Test suites are used to organize or group test cases together. Tests. Test cases are made up of a series of test steps. Test cases are run to validate that your app or specific features in your app work as you expect. Test steps. Instructions or actions. Test steps are written by using the Power Apps expression language. Test assertions. The expected result of a test. Microsoft Azure Monitor is a tool that offers makers the ability to view a stream of events from a user's session to diagnose and troubleshoot problems. Canvas app makers can use Monitor to view events while building a new app in Power Apps Studio and to monitor publish apps during runtime. Model-driven app makers can monitor page navigation, command implementations, form-related issues, and other major actions to understand the app behavior and make improvements. You can connect your Canvas apps with Application Insights, a feature of Azure Monitor. Application Insights includes powerful analytics tools that help you diagnose issues and understand what users actually do with your app. With your app connected to Application Insights, you can collect telemetry on how users are actually using your app to help you improve the quality of your apps. Some of the telemetry that you can gain from setting up features include number of active users who are using the app, location of where the app is used, which screens are used most frequently, user flows from one screen to another. As a solution architect, you should decide if Application Insights will be included in the apps that you create. For more information, see Application Insights. Next unit, Microsoft Teams and Power Apps. Microsoft Teams and Power Apps. Microsoft Teams is becoming a key collaboration app that is the focus of a user's daily work. To prevent the need for users to switch between applications when accessing their data, it is possible to embed existing Power Apps into Microsoft Teams channels. Microsoft Teams includes a Power Apps application that, after it's been added, will enable Canvas apps to be created with a team. This action creates an environment and dataverse for Teams database. The maker can create an app within a team that all members of that team can access. Create Power Apps in Microsoft Teams. Dataverse for Teams is a built-in, low-code data platform for Teams. The Power Apps application in Teams provides an integrated experience for app makers to create and edit apps within Teams and quickly publish that and share them for anyone on the team to use, without having to switch between multiple apps and services. With Power Apps Studio embedded in Power Apps applications in Teams, and the built-in data platform providing a user-friendly, editable data table, you can quickly build apps based on custom data tables that are team-specific and scenario-specific. Dataverse for Teams, which is built on Microsoft Dataverse, provides relational data storage, rich data types, enterprise-grade governance, and one-click solution deployment to the Teams App Store. This version of Dataverse does not include all functionality of Dataverse. The advantage of creating Canvas apps inside of Teams is that no other license is required to use the app and data. If you have access to Microsoft Teams through a Microsoft 365 license, then you can use this feature. Using Dataverse for Teams might seem attractive initially, but as a solution architect, you need to be aware of the limitations, particularly around integration, such as there's no API access, some controls are not supported, Canvas apps only, no model-driven apps, and AI Builder is not supported. For more information, see known issues and limitations. Next, Portal Apps. Portal Apps. The ability to easily show and interact with Microsoft Dataverse data on an externally facing website is the core benefit for implementing a Power Apps portal. Power Apps portals, or Power Pages, are designed for interaction with the internal and external audiences. Features of a portal app. Power Apps portals, or Power Pages, are built on top of Dataverse. This architecture comes with a major benefit. All differentiating features of model-driven apps in Power Apps are the features of Power Apps portals as well, including centralized management, common data model, roles and permissions, forms and views, business rules, declarative workflows and actions, plugin architecture, integration with other services, Dataverse extensibility, audit. Power Apps portals deliver a complete content management system out of the box, with all content stored in Dataverse. As a result, content can be edited through Power Apps Portal Studio and also directly by using the Portal Management app. Additionally, the robust Dataverse security model can help secure the content. Note: A portal requires a Dataverse database to be available in the environment to install and configure some key components. While a portal from blank can be configured in an environment without any of the Microsoft Dynamics 365 apps installed, the templates, customer self-service, employee self-service, partner and community portals have dependencies on Microsoft Dynamics 365 apps. Portals architecture. Power Apps portals transact directly with Dataverse data. You can create lists and forms over data. Power Apps portals provide built-in components that use model-driven views and forms. The portals can be customized and extended, as shown in the following diagram. Power Apps portals extend Dataverse solutions to internal and external audiences in a more secure way. Portal visitors can access portals as either anonymous or authenticated users. Portal app features. Content rendering, web features, user login and registration. For content in web pages, it uses Dataverse data. For lists in entity views, it uses Dataverse views. And for forms, entity forms uses Dataverse forms. Dataverse, portal configuration, portal content and business data. Expose Dataverse data. The following sections describe the several different ways that you can expose Dataverse data. Use cases for portals. When to consider using a portal app. Interactions with Dataverse for external and internal users is more secure. Community or self-service sites for customer service. CRUD on Dataverse data. Limited resources and budget, business user and no-code configuration requirements. Responsive design and content is accessible across all devices and browsers. Multilingual implementations. Single sign-on. When to exercise caution. Most data resides in an external, non-Dataverse system. Heavy requirements around document management, indexing and searching. Large volumes of users who drive heavy traffic to the portal. E-commerce requirements, including processing payments and maintaining an online store. Use cases that are more appropriate for a direct Power Apps licensed user access. Authentication. Power Apps portals allows authenticated and unauthenticated users. The solution architect needs to know if authenticated access will be used and how users will be authenticated, whether it's through Microsoft Azure B2C, Microsoft Entra ID, or another identity provider. Important, you should avoid using locally stored accounts for authentication. Implementation considerations. When implementing a portal app, the solution architect needs to consider the following key factors. Whether a blank template or a Dynamics 365 template will be used. The gap from template to requirements. Which portal pages will require advanced liquid template skilled resources. What data that authenticated users will need access to. Deployment considerations. Portal assets such as views and forms can be packaged in solutions, but most portal configurations is stored as data over many tables. The configuration migration tool can help mitigate some of the work when you are moving from development to test production. Further reading. Power Apps portals architecture. Work with Power Apps portals. Extend Power Apps portals. Next, let's check our knowledge. For all of the links that are referenced here, you can see these in the description of the video below. Answer the following questions to see what you've learned. Which component of Power Platform can developers create with TypeScript for enhanced visualizations of data? Component libraries, Power Apps component frameworks, web forms, application insights. I'm going with component libraries. Which tools should you use to perform regression testing of Canvas apps? Application insights, Monitor, Easy Repro or Test Studio. I'll go with Test Studio. Your Canvas apps contain many formulas and are performing badly. You want to offload processing to speed up performance. What should you do? Create a Power Automate flow and then run the flow by using an expression. Create a business process flow. Use the construct function. Move the logic into a component library. I'm going to say the first one, create a Power Automate flow. Let's see. Okay, so the first one is use Power Apps component framework, not component libraries. The others are correct. Let's see a summary. App composition is one of the most important tasks for a solution architect. Take the time up front to properly design your app composition and identify reusable components that should be built. A user's app experience will be how they judge the solution architecture. Important. The level of change in Microsoft Power Platform means that the best practices will change every few months. Next steps. See the following links for more information on Power Apps architecture. Master Advanced Techniques for Power Apps Canvas Apps Learning Path. Create components with Power Apps Component Framework Learning Path. Power Apps Guidance Documentation. That's this unit complete. Thanks for listening. Hope you found it useful. I hope you found this Audio Learn series useful. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to hear more audio learning from Microsoft Learn's learning paths, leave a comment on what you'd like to hear next. Thanks for watching.